Creature swarms, treasure hoards, infinite combos. Tokens can do it all. But the best token generators in Magic, they're so powerful, it might just blow your mind. For over 20 years, I've played Magic the Gathering, the greatest game ever made. Now, I'm counting down its most powerful, iconic, and surprising cards. My name is Weston, and this is MTG Top 10. This week, we're going over the top 10 token-producing cards in Magic the Gathering. Starting off at number 10, we have one of the weirdest and most chaotic token producers in Magic's history, Tombstone Stairwell. Cumulative upkeep 1 in a black. At the beginning of each upkeep, if this enchantment is on the battlefield, each player creates a 2/2 black zombie creature token with haste named Tombspawn for each creature card in their graveyard. At the beginning of each end step, and when this enchantment leaves the battlefield, destroy all tokens created with this enchantment. They can't be regenerated. This old school enchant world from Mirage floods the board with 2/2 zombie tokens. This creates absolute mayhem in multiplayer games. Every turn cycle, creatures die, new zombies rise, and the graveyards keep growing, fueling even more token production. And if you really want to abuse it, pair it with death triggers, things like Blood Artist, Teysa Karlov, or Grave Pact, so you're draining your opponents or wiping their creatures every turn. Tombstone Stairwell is hilarious, deadly, and absolutely bonkers in the right deck. It's one of the most unique token generators in the game, and definitely earns a spot on this list. At number 9, we have one of the most efficient instant speed token makers in the game, Secure the Wastes. For X and a single white mana, this card floods the battlefield with exactly as many 1/1 warrior tokens as you can afford. It's simple, it's flexible, and most importantly, it's instant speed. Why does this matter? Because you can pass the turn with all your mana up, threaten interaction, and then, right before your turn, drop a surprise army out of nowhere. This isn't just good in token decks, it's a win condition in control decks, an army in a can for white weenie strategies, and an absolute bomb in Commander when paired with Anthem effects. Oh, and if you've got anything that buffs tokens, things like Cathar's Crusade, Anointed Procession, or even Impact Tremors, this card just wins games. One moment, nothing. The next, you're staring down a lethal board. And that's why Secure the Waste easily locks in a spot on this list. Coming in at number 8, we have a card that lets you summon an army that grows exponentially, Horn of Gondor. When Horn of Gondor enters, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Then for 3, and tapping the horn, create X 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens, where X is the number of humans you control. What's cool is this card can go bananas all by itself. In a deck stacked with humans, however, this thing goes from pretty good to completely absurd very fast. Pair it with commanders like Jarina Kudrow or Catilda, Dawnheart Prime, and suddenly you're pumping out an entire battalion of soldiers every single turn. And if you really want to get crazy, add a token doubler, like Anointed Procession or Mondrak Glory Dominus, and now you're basically declaring war on your opponents. The Horn of Gondor doesn't just create tokens, it scales with your board, making it one of the most explosive token producers in Magic today. And that's why it secures a spot on this list. At number 7, we've got a token producer that destroys the competition, literally. Say hello to Pest Infestation. For X and double green, destroy up to X target artifacts and or enchantments. Then create twice X 1/1 black and green pest creature tokens with, when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. That means even if you just hit 2 targets, you're still walking away with 4 bodies. And since those pests gain you life when they die, they're way more than just chump blockers. But here's where things can get nasty. If you're playing sacrifice strategies, think Plumb the Forbidden, Corvold, Fakir's King, or Bastion of Remembrance, this doesn't just ramp your board. It fuels everything that your deck is trying to do. And the best part, it scales. Whether you need to knock out 1 key artifact or a few enchantments, you always get an army of pests in return. It's a removal spell, it's a token generator, it's a game changer. And that's why Pest Infestation infects its way onto the list. At number 6, we have one of the most hilarious, frustrating, and downright nasty token producers in Magic, Arachno Genesis. For just 3 mana, this instant speed trick will create X 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach, where X is the number of creatures attacking you. Then prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by non-spider creatures. That means if your opponents think they got lethal, surprise, they don't. Not only do you survive, but now you've got an army of spiders waiting to strike back. And if you're running a spider deck or anything that cares about tokens, think Second Harvest or Parallel Lives, then suddenly this isn't just a combat trick, it can be a win condition. Imagine turning your opponent's own aggression against them, letting them build your army for you, then crushing them on the backswing. You don't need to play spiders to love Arachno Genesis, but let's be real, if you do, this card is an absolute masterpiece of token production, and that's why it makes this list. At number 5, we have a card that lets you literally ride into battle, 4th Eorlingas. For X, a red, and a white, this sorcery will create X 2/2 red human knight creature tokens with trample and haste. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to one or more players this turn, you become the monarch. And as if an army of trampling knights wasn't enough, the card also gives you the monarch, which means extra card draw if you can keep the crown. This card scales beautifully. Whether you need a quick 2-knight strike force or an entire cavalry charge, 4th Eorlingas delivers. And in decks that care about combat, like Jor Kadeen or Ishin 2 Heavens as 1, this becomes a game-ending bomb. Plus, let's not ignore the monarch effect. If your opponents can't take the crown from you, you're not just making an army, you're snowballing advantage turn after turn. Between its aggression, card advantage, and sheer power, 4th Eorlingas doesn't just make tokens. It leads an army to victory, and that's why it charges onto this list. At number 4, we got the undisputed king of goblin tokens, the godfather of go-wide strategies, the mob boss himself, Krenko Mob Boss. For 4 mana, this legendary goblin says tap, create X 1/1 goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins you control. That means every single time you activate Krenko, you're doubling your goblins. 1 goblin becomes 2, 2 become 4, 4 become 8, and before you know it, boom, your board is completely out of control. And in a dedicated goblin deck, oh man, Krenko gets even more disgusting. With haste enablers like 1,000-Year Elixir or Goblin War Chief, you don't even have to wait to tap him. Stack on lords like Goblin Chieftain, now your little 1/1s become lethal threats. Whether you're swinging for lethal, sacrificing goblins for Skirk Prospector mana, or burning opponents down with impact tremors, Krenko isn't just a token generator. He's a win condition all by himself. You give this guy even 1 turn unchecked, it's already too late. And that's why Krenko Mob Boss runs this list like it's his own personal crime syndicate. At number 3, we have a token engine so efficient, so relentless, that it turns even the smallest artifacts into an unstoppable army. Say hello to Retrofitter Foundry. For just 1 mana, this artifact lets you tap 3 mana to untap this artifact, 2 plus tap it to create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token, 1 and tap it, sacrifice a servo, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter creature token with flying, or tap it, sacrifice a Thopter, create a 4/4 colorless construct artifact creature token. The best part is that this can untap itself. That means as long as you've got the mana, you can just keep churning out tokens over and over. In artifact decks, this thing is a machine, literally. It spits out tokens for Sai Master Thopterist, feeds Urza Lord High Artificer, and with there being so many ways to generate infinite mana, this card can take over an entire game. Cheap, repeatable, deadly, Retrofitter Foundry doesn't just generate tokens, it manufactures victory, and that's why it's easily top 3 on this list. At number 2, we got a token producer so explosive, so utterly ridiculous, that it can literally crash Magic Arena. Say hello to Scute Swarm. For 3 mana, this little 1/1 insect has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of this creature instead. That means every land drop after 6 doubles your swarm. 1 land, 2 swarms. Another land, 4. Next land, 8. Before your opponent can even blink, your entire board is drowning in an unstoppable tidal wave of bugs. Now throw in cards like Cultivate and Fetch lands for multiple land drops in a turn, and if you're running Parallel Lives, just go ahead and apologize to your playgroup now. Terrifying, relentless, and mathematically absurd, Scute Swarm is one of the most overwhelming token producers ever printed, and that's why it easily scurries its way to number 2 on this list. Alright, we're almost there. Only 1 token generator remains. But before I reveal my number 1 pick, let's take a moment to highlight some honorable mentions. Cards that almost made the list and are still absolute powerhouses in the right decks. First up, we've got Avenger of Zendikar, the landfall token engine that turns every ramp spell into a game-ending threat. For 7 mana, you get a huge elemental and also a plant token for every land you control. But the real fun starts when you drop more lands, because each one pumps your entire plant army. Pair it with Scapeshift or Craterhoof Behemoth, and suddenly those little 0/1s are swinging in for lethal. Next, we've got Rabble Rousing, a hideaway enchantment that explodes your board every time you attack. Every creature that swings creates a 1/1 citizen token, and once you hit 10 creatures, you cast your hidden spell for free. This card is disgusting in go-wide decks, and if you've got Doubling Season or Eldrazi Monument, yeah, good luck to your opponents. And finally, we've got Bitter Blossom, the classic token generator that slowly drains you, but rewards you with endless 1/1 flying fairy rogues every single turn. Whether you're swarming the skies or just being a menace in a control deck, Bitter Blossom is a timeless classic of token generation. All right, we've seen some of the best token producers in Magic, but there's one that stands above them all. A card so powerful, so game warping, that it must be dealt with immediately. It's time for the #1 token producer in Magic history. At #1, we have the undisputed champion of token production. A card so oppressive, so utterly dominant, that it single-handedly changes every game it's in. That's right, it's Smothering Tithe. For just 4 mana, this enchantment asks a simple question. Hey, you wouldn't mind paying 2 extra mana for every time you draw a card, would you? And just like that, boom! You get a treasure token every single time. And in a 4-player commander game, yeah, you're raking in stacks of treasures before your turn even starts. And the best part, these tokens are mana. That means Smothering Tithe doesn't just ramp you, it funds your win condition. Need an explosive play? Need to fuel a combo? Need to cast your entire deck? This card can make it happen. And let's be real, nobody's paying that 2-mana tax. They think they will, but by turn 3, they're already making excuses. Powerful, relentless, absolutely oppressive. Smothering Tithe isn't just one of the best token producers, it's the best. And that's why it dominates the #1 spot on this list. I've talked about some of the best, but here's a question for you. What's your personal favorite token producer? Even if it's not the strongest. Maybe it's a crazy effect, or maybe you just love the art, but drop it in the comments. And before you leave, please like and subscribe. See you next week.